Dreamscape presents A Study in Murder, a Victorian book club mystery by Callie Hutton, narrated by Rosie Akerman. Chapter 1. Bath, England, April 1890. Lady Amy Lovell, only daughter of the Marquess of Winchester, hurried up the steps of St. Swithin's, the old and stately church on the Paragon in the Walcot area of Bath, barely on time for the Sunday service. As usual, she arrived 10 minutes past her Aunt Margaret, who had never in all her life been late for a church service, or anything else. Her aunt shifted over in the family pew as Amy slid in alongside her. She offered her a hymnal, a Bible, and a slight roll of her warm brown eyes. Amy looked around the church, comfortable with familiar faces. There were the Mrs. O'Neill, Miss Penelope, and Miss Gertrude, who made it their responsibility to make sure everyone knew of their particular devotion to the church. Their usual flowered dresses matched each other's, as did their blue and pink straw hats. They were not twins, but for some odd reason pretended to be, although they looked nothing alike and their heights were separated by almost a foot. Mrs. Edith Newton played the organ with gusto, fingering the wrong chords only a few times. Amy smiled. The woman was half blind, but no one had the heart to tell her it was time to retire. So they all sang off-key half the time. Amy's heart slowed down from the race to church, and she settled her hands in her lap as the pastor, Mr. Palmer, began his Sunday sermon. Despite her best intentions, Amy's mind drifted to her latest novel. Like her other self, the famous mystery author E.D. Burton, her mind was always filled with murder and mayhem. In her most recent work, she was stymied by the last red herring she'd thrown into the mix. She needed some guidance and knew exactly what research book would help. But she'd been unable to find a copy anywhere in Bath, or even in London when she'd made the trek there to search for the tome. Mr. Palmer was finishing up his sermon when Amy realised she'd spent the entire time dwelling on her story and hadn't heard a word the man had said. She made a quick apology to God as the congregation stood and sang the last hymn. "Good heavens, Amy, are you aware that you're wearing 2 different shoes?" Aunt Margaret pointed to Amy's feet as the last note was sung. "Yes, I know."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?